Hi, my name is Haley here with Puppy Steps Training, and we've got Bailey here for you today. We're going to give you a brief training demonstration and show you what she's learned here. So she's got a great personality, she's done really well, and we think you're going to love her. So basically our training program breaks into 5 main areas. There's socialization, which they spend the first 2 weeks doing nothing but socialization, living in a household environment, and we go into detail in that in the training manual. And then there's house training, leash training, obedience commands, and manners. So we're going to go ahead and start with our manners and obedience commands, and then we'll move in and talk about some of the other stuff. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first of our manners is she's expected to wait at any door or gate coming out of the crate, coming out of your car, coming out of your front door. Always ask her to wait before she's released. And this kind of sets the foundation for our training program, which is that we are replacing physical control with verbal control. So we're kind of rearranging how the dog is thinking, and so programming her to think that whatever she wants, she has to look to you to get. So for example, if she wants to get out of the crate, she needs to look to you for permission. If she wants to get out of the house, she needs to look to you for permission rather than just heading straight out of the house. If she wants her food, she needs to look to you for permission. So I'm going to show you what to do, what to expect with that. Okay. Good girl, good girl. So okay is the release word, and it's also a marker. So okay tells you 2 things. Number 1, it tells the puppy that she did the right thing. And number 2, it tells her that she's done, she's released, and she can get out. Good girl. And you may have also noticed that I didn't reward her with a treat when I let her out of the crate. Anytime she's released from something, that release is a reward, and she doesn't need to be rewarded with any kind of a treat when she's released from something. Good girl. Yes. And so she's demonstrating the next of her manners, which is there you go, good girl, which is a sit for a greeting. And we want this to be kind of a default behavior. Pretty much anytime she's making eye contact with you, anytime she approaches you, anytime she comes up to greet you to say hi, she needs to sit automatically without any hand signals or commands or anything. Now, having said that, if she needs a reminder for the first little while, then absolutely give her a reminder. For an example, like if she's meeting kids and she's excited, or she's been let out first thing in the morning and she's really excited, and she needs a reminder, a hand signal to sit before you say hello, go ahead and give her that. Good girl. And make sure everybody in the family is on the same page and asking for a sit before they give her attention and say hello, so that she doesn't get in the habit of jumping up. So sitting for greeting does several things for you. You want to go outside? Hold that thought. I'm going to come back to sitting for greeting. And she touched the bell and rang the bell, and so we're going to jump into house training, and we'll let you know, we'll show you what she has learned as far as that goes. Okay, so Bailey went and she touched the doorbell, and she knows where the doorbell is here at the training facility. She's going to need to relearn where it is at your home. And the way you do that is you hang a bell on the door that you're going to be using most often to take her out to go potty, and then off. And then rub a little something on it that's going to catch the attention of her nose, like a little bit of peanut butter or maybe a little bit of grease or juice of some kind. And when she goes and touches it, when she first touches it, she's not probably going to be ringing the bell. She's just going to be arriving at whatever she was sniffing out. But your response is going to tell her what that means. That's going to tell her that that's the potty bell. So make sure that you're available to respond when she sniffs out the bell. So when she touches it, respond with, okay, good outside. You want to go outside? Yeah. And then reward her for that, and then take her on a leash out to a designated potty spot. It's really going to help if you have a certain place within your yard that you want her to go potty, and then just walk her around and wait for her to go to the bathroom. And when she does, mark it and reward it. Say, okay, good outside, good girl, good outside, and reward it and bring her back in. And that's going to let her know that that's how you communicate at your home to use the bathroom. So, and one thing that we recommend for all puppies that are going home is just spend the first couple of days and set an alarm on your phone or something for about every 30 minutes and take her out potty whether she asks to or needs to or not. And what that does is, number one, it gives her a lot of repetitions to let her know where the bell is, where the door is, where we go, where the potty spot is, and then also leave her piles in that little potty area in your yard for a couple of days and just let them sit so the area gets saturated with her smell. So that will stimulate her to go to the bathroom when she gets to that area. And you know, after a couple of days you can clean that up obviously, but anyway, if you set that alarm and take her out every 30 minutes, that's going to just give her a chance to communicate with you, give her a chance to learn to trust you and trust that you're going to be able to respond to her and take her out and potty so that you can set her up for success and avoid anything that you don't want to happen. So that's the house training. Now, jumping right back into our manners really quickly. So when she sits for a greeting that prevents jumping, which is a really bad habit, especially for a large breed dog like Bailey. She's going to be really big and that can be problematic. So always ask her for a sit when greeting. Another thing that it does is when her butt goes down, her eyes come up. So her attention is fixed on you and she's ready to take direction from you. Good girl. And then another thing it does is it just plants her. So she's planted in one place and she's not all over the place with her attention all around. So it's just a really good habit to get her keyed into you. So make sure you ask for that every time you greet her and interact with her. So that's the next of our manners. So the next is her mealtime manners. She's been taught she needs to hold a sit-stay for her food and she's not released until you give her that okay. You release. Nope. Okay, good girl. So, you know, you're going to be feeding your puppy twice a day anyway. You might as well get obedience out of that. And that also, again, it keys her into you as her leader and reminding her that she needs to be looking to you for whatever it is she wants. So another thing that we do, and I really recommend that you continue doing this at home, is we take the opportunity to put our hand in their food bowl or even take their food away while they're eating. You know, most people never think about putting their hand in their dog's food bowl while they're eating, and then they're really surprised when like a baby or a toddler crawls up to a bowl of food while their dog's eating and they get growled at. You know, it's a very natural response for a dog is to guard their food, and that's called protective aggression, and you want to prevent that. And so always, or every once in a while, make sure you put your hand down in your dog's food bowl while they're eating, or even take it away. Nope. Okay, good girl. So it goes back to replacing physical control with verbal control. All right. Good girl. Good girl. So with her manners, another one that she's been taught that it's very difficult to see on camera is she's been taught to have a very soft mouth and to use her lips and her tongue to very gently take food and toys and treats out of your hands as opposed to being grabby with her teeth. And if she ever, maybe if you're competing with another dog, if there's another dog there, or you have something really delicious and she forgets and she tries to use her teeth, just hold on to whatever it is you have in your hand and remind her by saying the cue gently and expect her to back off and be very soft and use her lips and her tongue to take things from your fingers rather than her teeth. But she's done a fantastic job of doing that. So the next, well actually I'm going to use a bully stick for her next manners. This is the cue or the command, drop it. And we want her to actively open her mouth and release things into your hand so you don't have to pull things out of her mouth. So, and this is something I really encourage people to teach kids. First of all, if there's going to be kids around, encourage kids to use toys to play with Bailey. Because dogs are, and especially puppies, are just very oral by nature. They need to be able to put their mouth on something. And so if kids have toys and ropes and balls to play with, then that gives them something appropriate to put their mouth on so they're not grabbing for pant legs or sleeves or hands or something like that. But then also encourage kids to use the drop it command and not get in the habit of just yanking things out of her mouth. Okay, there you go, good girl. And dogs are very capable of knowing where something ends and your fingers begin. So, we've taught her to be very conscientious of that, drop it. And to release things on command so that she's not holding on to things. Good girl. I'm going to hold on to that one. Okay, let's see. So we're going to go ahead and move into our obedience commands. We're going to show you come, sit, stay, down, stay, drop it. Let's see, come, sit, stay, down, stay, drop it, watch me, go to bed, and leave it. Come. Okay, good girl. So come is a foundational command. That means it's one of the very first commands that we teach. And for obvious reasons, it's going to be one of the most important commands to maintain over her lifetime. And ironically, it's often one of the first commands that people tend to kill. And the reason for that is a lot of times we don't call our dog to come to us unless we need them to come. And it's usually something they don't like it's time to leave the park or it's time to get away from whatever. They're playing, having a good time, and you want them to come. So they quickly learn that when they hear the cue come, if that's the only time you ever use the command, to either think about it and hesitate and decide whether it's worth it or not, or just to ignore it, and you don't want to do that. So a couple things that we recommend to help maintain this command as it's been taught is, number one, we really recommend that you just let her drag a leash for the first couple months. Just let her drag it around the house. And yes, it's going to get dirty, and yes, every once in a while it's going to get snagged on stuff, and it can be obnoxious, but it's going to be so helpful that if she ever hesitates on a command like come, you can just step on it and grab it and let her know that it's not an option, that she needs to follow through with that command. So, and then when we're out and about, like outside or out on off-leash or long-leash walks, we actually hook on a longer lead that's 15, 20, sometimes 25 feet long. And I actually use a 50 cord, but you can use whatever you like best. And just let them drag that. So if you're ever in a critical moment, they follow through with come like 95% of the time, and then there's that one moment, maybe they're chasing a cat or a bird or something, and they're tempted not to follow through and they hesitate, you can step on that leash or that line, and then they know that they don't have a choice and they can come to you. So that's one thing that I recommend to make sure you maintain that command. The next thing that I recommend is the rule of 10 to 1, and that means go ahead and call your dog, call Bailey to you 10 times a day for no reason other than to do something that's enjoyable for her. Like to give her a little tidbit of crust off a leftover sandwich, or to give her breakfast or her dinner, or to have a game of tug, or to throw a ball or something, or even just to have her come up and say hi and get attention from you. Good girl, good girl. And then she's getting lots and lots of positive associations with the command, and not negative ones. And then the other one that I recommend is, and this is what I do, unless you absolutely need to use it and you know she's not going to like it, for example, it is time to leave, or it's time to end the play, or something that she's not going to like, unless you need to use the command, I just don't use it. I just hook a leash on and we go, so that you can maintain the integrity of the word for her. So that's come. The next command, which she's already demonstrated multiple times, and this is the first of the 3 hand signals that she's learned. Now she thinks she's in a state. Come on. Is a sit, and that's the hand signal for a sit. Just a little scoop up over the nose like that. And if it helps you remember, that's how she was taught to sit, is we would lure her nose up until her butt went down, and then we'd reward her for that. Good girl. But, we can do the same thing with food bowls. We can do the same thing with a toy. Just lure it up and over her head. Nope. And she sits like that. Good girl. So, that's the first of the 3 hand signals. The next one is a stay. Sit. stay. Just make a stop sign with your hand like that. Okay, good girl, good girl. You know, obviously she's got a phenomenal stay for a puppy. Puppies have very short attention spans, and we've taken a lot of time and we've built the 3 Ds into her stays. That means distance, duration, and distractions. Obviously in here we've got a very closed space, so we've out on the road we've got quite a bit of distance. Duration, she's got a very long stay. And then we've added several distractions into that. I don't know if you saw that I dropped a treat while she was holding a stay. We'll roll balls, we'll go out the door, we'll go out of sight, we'll turn our backs, so that she knows that stay means stay no matter what else is going on. And one thing that we recommend to families is a lot of times they love the stay that they have when they go home, and it is an awesome stay. But I really recommend you continue to build on that, and every day just ask for a little bit more. Ask for more distance, duration, and distractions so that that stay can just become really solid. So that's the second of the 3 hand signals. And then the third, she's already doing, but I'll get her up and going. Come on. Hey. Is a down. So start with putting her in a sit, and then make your hand flat and taking it down to the ground. Good girl, stay. She'll hold stays in both the sit and down positions. Stay. See, like I said before, she's got a phenomenal puppy stay. And the down stay is one of the most valuable obedience behaviors over time. So that's one that I really recommend you do often. Matter of fact, most people kind of have a natural downtime in the evenings, like when you read or watch a show or whatever and just need to relax. That's an excellent time to, again, have her leash attached. But put her in a down stay, like on her bed, and just ask her to hold it for a little bit longer every day. You know, she can do 30 seconds plus with pretty intense distractions right now. But build it up, ask for a minute, 2 minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes, with even more intense distractions. Anyway, that helps a lot with just overall obedience. So we've done come, sit, stay, down, down, stay. Now we're going to show you crate. Crate. Good girl. Good girl. So she'll go into her crate on command. And we've spent a lot of time crate training. And the reason for that is the crate is going to be one of your most useful tools overall. You can just, through the night, or if you need to take your eyes off her for a couple hours during the day and you don't want to think about it, just put her in her crate and you don't have to think about anything happening or getting into anywhere she's not supposed to be. So it's really, really helpful. And it's really helpful to just have them calm and relaxed and happy in the crate and not barking or going nuts, not wanting to be there. So a lot of time and a lot of care has been put into crate training. So she'll go into her crate on command. If she walks into her crate on her own, she's allowed to come and go as she pleases. But if we put her into her crate, and the same thing with go to bed, and I'll show you that in a minute, if we put her into her crate, then it's an implied stay. She can't come out, like I showed you at the beginning, until she's been released. Okay. Good girl. Okay. So that's come, sit, stay, down, down, stay, crate. I showed you drop it. And then the next command, this is another foundational command again, which is one that we teach from the very beginning, is watch me. So with watch me, all you're looking for is her eye contact. And what makes watch me so powerful is the way dogs are designed psychologically is they, unlike us, are not capable of looking at one thing while thinking about something completely different. So wherever their eyes are is 100% where their mind is. So a tool like Watch Me that can get her eyes in virtually any situation can distract her from literally any distraction. So it can be a life-saving command, like if she's running out into traffic, maybe she's chasing a cat or she's running after something that you don't want her to have. You just want a tool to be able to get her eyes very quickly. Watch me. Okay, good girl. So for that reason, that's another one that I recommend you do the rule of 10 to 1. Just ask for that command 10 times a day for no reason other than just to reward her for it, for every one time that you need her to follow through with that. And that way you can keep that fresh and keep it snappy, and she'll never hesitate in that critical moment that you need her to follow through with that. So, and the final one is go to bed. And like I mentioned with Crate, if she comes and goes to her bed, she can go all she wants. But if you send her to her bed on command, then it's an implied stay. And she understands that she's stuck there until she's released. Come on, go to bed. Baby. Come on. Come on. She's ready for a nap. Go to bed. Good girl. So I don't care if she's standing, sitting, or lying down. The only thing I care about is I want her completely on her bed. And I want her to stay on her bed until she's released. Okay. Good girl. Okay, we're going to show you one other command that I didn't mention before, and this one is leave it. So what makes leave it so valuable is, it goes back to the foundation of our program, which is we are replacing physical control with verbal control. So for example, if she's approaching something or somewhere in your home that you don't want her to have access to, or maybe there's a kid walking around holding food in their hands, and puppies get tempted to want to grab that food and pull it out of their hands, or she's just approaching anything that you don't want her to touch or grab, you can use the command leave it to get her to leave it alone, and I'll show you what that looks like. Leave it. Okay, good girl. Good girl. So yeah, again, you can do the rule of 10 to 1 and practice having her just do exactly what she did. Just hold off and not touch it and wait for your release. You can either release her to pick it up, or if you just don't want her to have it at all, while she's holding off, then you can pick it up and take it away and you reward her some other way. Give her some praise, give her some attention, give her a treat or a toy or something else to reward her for following through with the command leave it. So, and I'm going to go ahead and take her over to the front door and show you what her doorway manners look like going in and out of your home. Again, this goes back to our manners, which we talked about at the beginning, and it goes back to an acronym that helps me remember is All Good Dogs Fetch Toys, AGDFT, and that stands for Attention, Gates and Doorways, Food, and Toys. And these are 5 things that most people give their dogs several times a day anyway, just through the natural course of life. And so make sure you always remember to ask for obedience before giving these things. And I'll show you what that looks like at the doorway. So to begin with, I don't ask her to sit or hold any kind of a position, and I don't give her a command. Having said that, if she needs a reminder, which puppies every once in a while, they'll need a reminder because it's like first thing in the morning or they're really excited or whatever reason. If she needs a reminder, give it to her, but the doorway is an implied stay. And ideally, you want her to be holding that stay without you having to say it. So she can just be standing there. All I'm expecting from her is I don't want her to cross that threshold. So you go out first. Whenever you or the family is going out the door, you go out first. The family all goes out first. She comes through last, and only after you've given her that release. So then she does the same thing coming back in. You just expect her to, she can move around, she can walk, she can turn around, whatever she wants to do. She just can't cross that threshold until she has permission from you. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. Just like that. Okay, so now we're out here on the road. We're going to show you what she's learned with leash training. So what we do is called attention walking. It's called attention walking because our attention is focused on her, and we want her attention focused on us. So what we do is we always take rewards with us, and we really recommend that for the first little while that you take rewards with you too, rewards that are meaningful to her, and you mark and reward every time she looks up at you and she puts her attention on you. And she stays on a slack leash, kind of this J shape in the leash, and is paying attention to where you're walking. Stopping when you stop, changing directions when you change directions. So here's what that looks like. And there's two commands that we use when we're leash walking. We say let's go when we want to go, and then we say easy if they're pulling ahead and we need them to put that slack back in the leash and come back to us. So here we go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, good girl. Let's go. So she's got that nice slack leash walking by our side, changing directions when we change directions. Okay, good girl. Looking up and getting rewarded for looking up. And then when you stop, ask her for a sit. And that helps a lot, because if you don't ask for a sit, when you stop walking, then she's not on task and she's kind of left with a void. And they'll want to kind of fill that void with, you know, like what she tried to do right there, sniffing around or looking at other stuff and going and doing something else. And you want her to stay on task. Let's go. Good girl. Okay. Come on. Come on. Okay. Let's go. Okay. So there's basically two kinds of walks that we do with the puppies. If she needs a reminder to sit, then go ahead and give her a reminder. There's a short leash walk, or the attention walk, and when she's on an attention walk, we make sure they know that they're on task, like I said before. That they're not running around sniffing, you know, for roadkill or neighbors' dogs or cats or whatever, doing whatever they want. Come here. It's like 6 degrees out here, so she's probably not super comfortable sitting on the pavement. But anyway, but we want her to focus on us. And then the other kind of walk is a off-leash walk or a long-leash walk. And that's when we take them out and we just give them an opportunity to just be a dog, to run, to chase, to sniff. And they need that on a regular basis. They need to be able to get out and explore their surroundings without being completely on task all the time. So when we do that, we don't ask for the same level of attention, but we do call them to us regularly to take a treat from our hand, and then we release them to go. So we'll call them to us maybe every minute or something, and don't let them get too far. And as long as they always follow through and check back in, take a treat, and then we say okay and release them to go sniff and run and chase again, then they're still under control, under instructional control. If they ever hesitate or don't follow through with that, then we go ahead and grab the leash until they're focused back on us, and then once they're responding again consistently, then they earn that privilege of being able to be off leash and just kind of running and doing whatever it is they want to do. So yeah, that is the attention walk.